what I've done for the belt is created a tube of double knitting. So it's got 6 stitches and 6 stitches, so 12 that you're working all together, but you're slipping every second stitch, so it creates this lovely, thick, quite stretchy double knitting stretch. So we're going to begin, let me go to the start of it here. You'll cast on 6 stitches, and then you're going to knit into the front of the back of them, create 12, and then I'll show you how to work the double knitting. To finish off, you can of course just knit 2 together 6 times and then do a bind off, or what I opted to do on this side was just a tubular bind off, where it's basically you're grafting the start and the knits and the purls together like this. So let me cast on 6 stitches. Again, it doesn't really matter what cast on technique you use here. You can take your pick. I'm going to go with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then the next row is just our right side setup row. We're just going to knit into the front and back twice. Knit into the front, knit into the back. Sorry, not twice, into every stitch, because you want to double your stitches up. The reason you just did 6 stitches for the cast on is that you only wanted that wide, because with double knitting you are effectively putting half the stitches on each side. They just happen to be worked on one needle. Now that sounds a bit strange, but when you see it worked, it'll make a lot more sense. So once you have knit front and back for all 6 stitches, you have those 12 stitches. And now we're going to set up our double knitting. So going to knit into the first stitch, then we bring the yarn in front and slip this stitch, bring the yarn back, knit the next stitch, bring the yarn in front, slip, bring the yarn back, knit. So we're going to go and keep doing that, slipping, knitting, yarn in front, slip, bring the yarn back, knit, bring the yarn in front, slip, bring the yarn back, knit, and you'll end with the yarn in front and slipping. So then you're going to actually do the exact same thing on the other side, but you're obviously, just by virtue of the fact that you're starting on the knit, it's going to be alternating. So this one had been slipped on the other side, so we're going to knit at this time, and you can see that looks correct. And the one that looks like a purl, you're going to bring the yarn in front and slip it. Bring the yarn back, knit this one, bring the yarn in front and slip it. So it gets a little easier as you start working along, because the knitting becomes very obvious. Knit on each side with these what look like purl stitches that you bring the yarn in front and slip in between. And then the next one, bring the yarn in front and slip it. And I turn back, and that is literally what you're going to keep doing for the length of your belt. The belt, I would suggest trying it on, tie it around, make sure it's long enough that it ties comfortably, but not so long that it's dragging a lot on the ground. So, you know, you can adjust the length of the belt that you need. It takes more yarn than you expect. I think this took about 36 grams for the 3rd size. So do make sure you've got enough yarn for yourself to work on it. When you've finished, I will put a link in for the tubular bind off, but you'll just be using the tubular bind off across here, because these you can treat as knit, purl, knit, purl, knit, purl. So it will be the very same as if you had 1x1 ribbing, and the kind of tubular bind off you can use at the end of that to create this smooth edge to your work.